Hello, my friends. Welcome to my channel. The second coloring page that I have done for February 2023, put on by Monarch Coloring Events and the Coloring Fiesta Facebook group. I was going to do an in-person on-camera greeting like I have been trying to do, but to be honest, I was running out of time and I am not in any condition to appear before the camera today. So we're just going to do it this way like I used to do. So this is Ryia. And I have printed her on a new white paper that I am now using. You can use, obviously, the paper of your choice. But I have had a few people ask me about this because I have brought it up a couple of times. If you guys have followed my channel, you know that I love the Nina Environment Desert Storm cardstock. That's my tan cardstock that I use. This is the same thing, Nina Environment, only this is called Moon Rock, and it is just an off-white. Let's see if I have something here I can show you in comparison. It's just an off-white color, and I love it. It feels to me very much the same as the Desert Storm. And so that is a good thing because I love how the Desert Storm feels underneath my pencils. The only thing that it doesn't do that the Desert Storm does is give me that wonderful ability to do white over pretty much, any color. And, I'm learning. I've been doing a few on this paper. And I'm kind of learning and getting used to not being, having to work around that. So that's okay. I'm also going to try something a little bit different today. And I hope that that's okay with you. Typically, I have always felt like I needed to stick with one brand of pencil. And occasionally I might throw in one or two of another brand. But today I'm going to do this the way that I have been doing many more of my pages lately, and that is I am going to use the swatch charts that I have created for myself. And I told you guys you could have these. You could download these from my Ko-fi shop. These are just my handwritten swatch charts of all of my colored pencils. And I did a video on that. If you haven't seen it, you can go check that out. But what's lovely about this is that it gives me the chance, it broadens the choices that I have in what I do for a coloring page. So for example, let's see if I can even find the chestnut on here. Prisma chestnut is on here somewhere. I've got a lot of colors on here. It is, right? Somewhere on that page. There it is. Okay. So typically, I would start, well, not on white. I'm not going to use chestnut, but this is just an example. So what's nice about this chart, the way that I did it, and I'm glad that I did this, is that I have a multitude of other options. If I don't want to use Prisma Chestnut, if I say, you know what, I'm going to use Polychromos Caput Mortem instead, I can. And I know exactly where to find that in the Polychromos notebook that I have. I don't know why I can never remember the name of these the case, the pencil cases. Anyway, I have a lot of options that are going to just slightly change the look of the skin tone depending on, what I use. I could use the Luminance Burnt Sienna. I could use Lightfast Ruby Earth. I have all these choices. So what I'm going to do today is use these charts. And what that's going to mean is it might take me a little bit longer to get this done than it would if I was just going with one brand. But the cool thing about this is that if I'm doing a color along with you, and I say, okay, I'm going to use Lightfast Ruby Earth, I'm going to throw this chart up on the thingy, and I'm going to show, you're going to be able to see all the choices that you have in the other brands that you might be able to use instead if you don't have the brand of pencil that I am going to use. So we're going to try this and see how it goes. I don't know, because again, I have all my brands in folders behind me, and it might take me a little bit longer to pull the pencils out that I'm going to use. But there you go. That's what we're going to try. Something different. Change things up a little bit. So here are all of my peachy colors, and it's like right now, it's just kind of as we start, it's going to be just like, pick one, because, you know, I could use any of them. So let's see, what should we use to start with? Let's start with, I don't know, I'm kind of tempted to start with Lightfast Salmon. You absolutely could use Prismacolor Peach. It's slightly different, but, you know, all of these colors are going to all get built up, and we'll make adjustments as we go. Like, I have certain colors that I like to use when I do my skin tones. I obviously always know that I'm going to use a peachy tone. I'm always going to use a red. Sorry, I'm looking for a certain folder. I'm always going to use, you know, like a red-brown in the shadows. I'm always going to use purples. I'm always going to use oranges. I'm always going to use some yellows. So in knowing that I'm going to use those colors, it really lets me just pull these sheets out and find something else, find something different. So I am going to start with Derwent Lightfast Salmon. And like I said, there's, you know, any number of other colors that brands that you could use. You could use Light Peach. You could use Polychromos Beige Red. They're slightly different, but they're still in the same similar kind of a deal. And I just realized I don't have my light on, so I'm going to turn this on and hope that it doesn't change things too much. You know what? I'm going to switch this to the cooler. That looks, on camera at least, that looks more like what it really does in person. So I'm going to leave that there. And I'm going to start with this. And I'm going to start with this lighter color because if I go and put a darker color down first, often the white paper just grips those dark colors so strongly, especially if you haven't developed that really light hand. I would always do, when you're working on white paper, I would always do a lighter color first. It kind of acts as a buffer. Now, as I'm doing this, I want to make sure that I'm going to leave her cheek, the tops of her cheeks, white or uncolored to start with, because I can't add the amount of white on there that I would like to on top of other colors. So I'm really enjoying these Lightfast pencils. Something that I've been noticing as I swatch. I won't even tell you, oh my God, how much swatching I've been doing lately. Re-swatching stuff. I actually am creating some swatch charts with my big, the big box swatch charts like you just saw on that I just showed you. For specific brands, all filled in and numbered, kind of in my color order, the way that I like them. I am not a fan of color family. I want swatch charts that go from yellow to orange, peach, red. What's the next color? Pink, purple, blue, green, and brown, and then the grays. And I want them all together like that. So a lot of the swatch charts that are out there that you can get are all, you know, done in color families and things like that. I prefer mine to just flow from one color to the next. So anyway, I've been redoing my charts. I decided it was time that I did some that were all nice and printed out and stuff. So I'm going to be putting those in my Etsy shop soon. So I've been swatching a lot. Where was I going with this? Oh yes, swatching. And I noticed something interesting. I've always kind of felt like I was a wax-based fan. But one of the things that I've noticed as I was swatching out all these pencils is that in my wax-based sets, there's always a few colors that just feel yucky. There's a blue one that I think everybody knows about, but there's been a few others as I've been swatching out my Prismas that I've kind of been like, oh, this is yucky. It's not smooth. But I haven't noticed anything like that in my oil-based sets, which I just kind of found interesting. The other thing I found interesting is that I tend to like my oil-based sets best when I mix them with my wax-based sets. So doing all of these, mixing all of my brands together and using any brand that I want to on a page is really working out nicely for me because it's letting me mix the oil-based with the wax-based and getting my colors, my color choices, you know, expanding them exponentially. So I've really been enjoying it. All right, let's see. We need to do, I want to make sure I get the lighting right. I think this will still be dark, but with maybe a little bit of extra dark shadow in here. All right, I'm not going to bother putting any here because that's going to be quite dark right there. The other thing I'm going to do today that I don't usually do is I am not using my original, at least on her skin. I might try and replicate what I did on the wings because I really liked the way those came out. But on the skin, I am not even, she is nowhere near in sight. I am, because I always stress when I'm trying to like replicate what I did the first time. And I'm not going to do that this time. I'm going to color this. I'm going to color her just like she is any coloring page that I'm doing. And we'll see how she turns out. Okay, so I left a little bit. I left this right here uncolored because I want that to be the lightest part of her shoulder. And I do need a little bit on her nose here. right, so my next, the next color that I'm going to want to do, I'm going to go ahead and put my shadows in. So often I might use this Prisma Chestnut, but since we're switching things up and trying to see about using some other colors, I can either use the Polychromos Caput Mortem or the Luminance Burnt Sienna 50%. I think let's try the Polychromos Caput Mortem. And if I don't like the way that's feeling, then I will switch to the Luminance. When I do this, though, I wind up having every color pencil case laying everywhere all over my desk, which I really shouldn't do it that way, but all right, this feels pretty good. You still want to make sure you use a light touch, which I think is a little bit easier to do when you're using oil-based pencils, because they don't, you have to push harder to get the to get the color to be really heavy, and since we don't want to do that, they work pretty well. So again, I've said this before. If you guys have followed me for a while, you already know this. But the reason that I'm putting this reddish brown tone on here is because it counteracts the gray color of the grayscale, so that when you go to do all the rest of the skin tones, the skin looks much more alive and vibrant and does not have a gray cast to it. Well, since we're down here, we might as well come in here, do it here. Okay. I want some under here as the shadow of her crown. I'm just doing little teeny tiny circles so that it's a nice soft shadow. always better to build up your darks slowly if you can. That way they blend into the other colors a lot easier. If you go too dark, too fast, then getting them to blend into the lighter tones is going to be a little bit more difficult, and you're going to have harsh transitions from your darks to your lights, or even your darks to your mediums. You want your everything to just blend real softly. And if you build up your color, it's much easier to do it that way. And it's easier to keep adding. If you don't push down too hard, then you're preserving the tooth of that paper, and so you can keep adding later on if you decide that you didn't go dark enough. I'm so in love with this paper. I always hated working on white paper until I found this paper, and it was like, oh my gosh, I can actually work on this. I get it from Amazon. I know that it's not always super available in other countries, so I apologize for that. But there's a there's a link to the paper that I get on Amazon, and there's actually, I'll put 2 links in there. I'll put the link to the big 250 pack, but they also sell it in smaller packs, so you can try it first. It's less expensive, obviously, when you buy it in the larger pack, but sometimes you just want to try, you know, because it's not cheap. It's not cheap paper. It probably is equivalent to about, to less than 25 cents a sheet is basically what it comes out to be, like 23 cents a sheet, I think, or 20, something like that, 22 cents a sheet, which is kind of the equivalent, if you price it out, to what like the Strathmore toned tan paper kind of works out to be. So it's not super expensive compared to what other, you know, that Strathmore paper, but it's definitely more expensive than, you know, like your regular cardstock kind of paper, your regular stuff that you can get at the office supply places, stuff like that. Okay, what do I want to do next? I want to, let's see. Do I want to add? So this is how, if I was at home, not at home, I am at home. This is how, if I wasn't filming, this is how I would build up my colors. I would get a color down, and then I would pull my color swatch sheets out and kind of say to myself, well, what do I think, which direction do I want to go with her skin tone now? And I'm kind of feeling like I want to bring in some more, like a little bit heavier peachy tones, just to see what happens. So in that option, I have quite a few. Polychromos beige red. This Arctic's peach is nice. And actually, Let's see, how does that compare to regular old Prisma Peach? Which is also on here somewhere. Oh, no, that's Holbein. Where's my Prism? Where's the Prisma Peach? Oh, right there. Okay, so Prisma Peach, a little browner. Actually, I think I'm going to break out the Prisma Peach and see what that does. So, I need to get a little bit of a sharpen going on here. All right, let's add a little bit of this and see how we feel. The fun thing about doing skin is that you can add so many different colors. They all are right. You can't make a mistake. Again, that's another reason that I'm really enjoying mixing all my colors, because I was tending to use the same colors over and over again in my Prismas, which is fine because depending on how the amounts that you use, your skin tones are still going to look different if you use more or less of any of those given colors. But I was feeling like, oh, I want to use some other colors. And so this is really nice to be able to throw some different colors together and see what we come up with. Don't ever forget that coloring and playing with your pencils, it's play. It's not, it doesn't have to be super serious, and you shouldn't ever worry about making a mistake, because so what? So what if you make a mistake? Then you learned something. Then you go, okay, well, I won't do that again. But every time you work on, every time I work on a coloring page, it's a learning process. I do not know everything. I am so far away from knowing everything. It's not even funny. But you gotta play with color. You gotta play with your colors. I'm gonna put some of this Caput Mortem from Polychromos, because I totally missed putting under her lip. So as long as you kind of, if you follow my channel, if you know hopefully by now you're kind of familiar with the colors that I do tend to use. And so even if you didn't download my colored chart, pull out your other pencils and look at them and kind of say to yourself, well, what's similar to what she used, and just use it. And don't be afraid that it's not going to turn out exactly the same, because it doesn't have to. Don't be afraid to play. Keep your pressure really light still. We don't have enough pigment yet on the paper to start pressing down any harder yet. If you press down too hard in the beginning, you're just going to get harsh pencil strokes, and you don't want that. You just just don't want that. I think I'm going to take this Caput Mortem again. And let's get this a little bit darker. Okay, back to Prisma Peach. I think we'll put some of this on her neck. So do you see how her neck no longer looks, well, it does, you know, right here on her hair, but the actual area that I have put the color pencil down, her neck doesn't look gray anymore. It's those red browns really warmed it up, and I'm going to put a little bit of that in here. Okay, and then down here. Again, leaving the center of her shoulder untouched for right now. All right, I think I'm ready to add some pink before I go into the yellows. So, somewhere I have some pinks. Okay, so we have our pink, our orangey pinks, which we can use, or we can use some more cool pinks. I don't know why, but I always tend to go for the warmer pinks. The Luminance Anthro pink is lovely. Blush pink is good. Let's do Prisma Blush Pink. I'm gonna sharpen this one up too. All right, let's do a little bit of this. It's fun. I see people posting sometimes in the coloring groups about like, why? What is the point of swatching? Sometimes people are kind of nasty. I've seen somebody, you know, like criticize somebody when they were asking about swatching, saying, why would you want to waste your pencils like that? which I thought was kind of harsh. But oh my gosh, I cannot even imagine doing any kind of coloring without swatching my pencils. Because for one thing, especially after swatching, I know for a fact that the color that is on the pencil, or even a lot of the times the color that's on the actual core of the, the actual colored pencil part, the actual core of the pencil, is not always what you get when you start using these colors. Plus, when they're all just laid out right there for you in front of your face, it's just such a wonderful tool. I can't even imagine not using them. And I can't imagine using the small, using the little teeny tiny swatches that some people use. If that works for you, great. I could not use those little teeny tiny swatches. I want big, big swatches that I can really see the color with, because I think that little teeny tiny swatches don't really show you the true nature of the color. Everybody's different. Everybody, you got to use what tools and what style works best for you. So that's why I use the big ones. All right, so we got a little bit of blush going. I think I'm going to put, I don't know why, but I feel like I want just a little bit of pink on the top of her shoulder. It's just the thing. All right. And I know I have some work to do still on her forehead. So I think I'm going to break out my peach again and do a little bit more work on her forehead before I start adding any other colors. Hey, I have no ears that I have to forget this time. Yay! It never fails. I always forget some body part, but for some reason, I don't think that's going to happen on this one. All right, let's do some more yellowy colors. So we have a lot of choices. On this sheet, we have some good ones. And then we also have on this sheet, we could go even lighter. Yeah, we have a lot of choices here. So Prisma Eggshell, I feel like that might be too much. Let's go with Luminance Naples Ochre. And if you don't have Luminance, Derwent Color Soft Cream is a good choice. Prisma, actually, cream is a decent choice. It's a little bit different, but it's not bad. You could use Prisma Eggshell, but go, really, really lightly with it. But we're going to go with that Luminance Naples Ochre. Sometimes I'll make a decision and then I'll change my mind. As soon as I start laying the color down, I'll know pretty quickly, like, oh, nope, that wasn't a good choice. And if that happens, just change colors. But I think I'm going to like this one. So I'm still using kind of a light hand. can see that I've kind of started covering up some of my highlight right there. There's a couple things that you can do about that. I actually found a new eraser that I really like. I was at, I usually use the kneaded erasers, which are these, you know, these kneaded rubber erasers. I was at Michael's and I had one of those, the rewards. So I had a $5 rewards that was going to expire if I didn't use it. So I actually bought a set of Prismacolor erasers. There's this one that they call a plastic eraser, which is actually really good for cleaning off my colorless blender when switching colors. I think this is called a gum eraser. The thingy is worn off of it. But it works really nicely too, and it's gentle like the kneaded eraser. And if you just go very gently, especially before you have a gazillion layers of color down on your paper, you can kind of repair any mistake that you might have made where you've accidentally covered up a white area that you didn't want to cover up. So here we are, and we're just mixing our oil and our wax-based pencils all together, and they mix beautifully. I've never had an issue with mixing the two, because really, in actuality, all pencils, well, most pencils, when they claim that they're wax or oil, are really a combination of both. So I think they work together just fine. So this area here where I don't have any color on the paper, which is this section here, the very lightest color, I really want to make sure that I pull back on my pressure when I'm working into an area that I've left white. Because it's really easy to find yourself pressing a little bit harder on areas that have a lot of pigment down on the page. You can kind of feel that there's pigment there. But as soon as you get to an area where there's no pigment, the pencil changes sound and feel. And you always want to make sure you lighten up that pressure, or else, again, you'll get those heavy pencil strokes, which we don't want. So lightening up this pressure as I come into the white. All right, I want to work on her nose a little bit more because I still feel like I haven't covered the gray well enough yet. I want it to be a little bit more I just totally cannot think of the word. It's not dark enough. There's not enough contrast here in what I'm doing. So I'm just we're gonna darken underneath her nostrils with this. This is the Caput Mortem. And I think I'm gonna shadow a little bit under here. I think I'm going to put a little bit more. All right, that's a little bit better. I think I'm going to do a little bit more peach there. So Prismacolor peach. And I think I'm going to do a little bit more of the Caput Mortem in here on this side of her nose. So if you work in light layers and you are constantly going back and forth between your lights and your darks, for me, that makes it a lot easier for me to see where I need to be adding more of anything. If I go with too much dark to start with, then sometimes I wish I hadn't gone that dark. If I go with too much light to start with, and then I'm not happy that way. But if I just build slowly and keep going back and forth, I feel like I get a better results that way. I think she needs a little bit of dark under her chin. Now we're going to switch to the purples. And actually, I think we still need a little bit of work here. It still feels a little bit too gray. So I'm going to do a little bit more of this in here. And maybe a little bit here. All right, purples. What have we got for purples? So this is my purple sheet, and normally I would do Prisma Grade Lavender, and I still might do Prisma Grade Lavender because it's a great color for skin. It depends on the look that you're after. She's going to have a lot of purple in her. I'm going to do her some of her flowers in purple, and I think I'm going to do her shirt in purple. So I think adding something a little bit more purpley might be okay. Okay, so we have Ultramarine Violet in Luminance, which is definitely more purple. Lightfast Wild Lavender's a little bit more red purple as opposed to kind of the more blue purples that we have going here. That's a pretty color, isn't it? Sorry, I do love my swatch charts. I know it's stupid, but seeing all the pretty colors all together just makes me happy. All right, let's try. I don't know why, but I'm going to pull out this. I might change my mind. I might not like it at all. So I'm going to pull out this Lightfast Wild Lavender and see what it does. And if I don't like it, then I'm going to switch back to my tried and true Prisma Grade Lavender. So I just have to find the right case. Oh my goodness. I try and have all my cases different colors, so it makes it easier to find what I'm looking for. Why can't I find my... Oh, because it's right here in front of my face. Okay, Lightfast Wild Lavender. Yeah, having cases in all different colors definitely makes it easier for me to find the case that I'm looking for. So there you go, Lightfast Wild Lavender. Let's just see what this does. It's another color in Lightfast that I really love, which is in the orange family. We'll probably pull that out too. So the purples generally, I won't say always, but generally go in the shadow areas. Sometimes I like to throw them in other places too, but putting them in the areas that are shadowed always looks really nice. This is kind of interesting because I'm almost wondering like if it's even dark enough, because while it is, yeah, I guess it is. It is working. I guess I'm used to the punch. I guess I'm used to the heaviness that I get with the, yeah, it's working. With the Prismas. Prismas have that, you know, super punch for your, lots of bang for your buck, I guess. This is more subtle, but I'm liking it. I think it's okay. I actually think I want some darker purple, though. Often I'll use, for those darker purples, I'll use the Prisma Black Grape. I think we're going to try something a little bit different. Every time I add a layer of color, I can feel the paper getting softer. Softer the right word? You know how you can smoother, like you can just tell as you're adding more and more layers that you can feel it in the paper. It doesn't feel as scratchy, so to speak. Okay, I want some of this under her eyes. So if you don't have this color, just use your Prisma Grade Lavender. That'll be just fine. If I wasn't using this, that's what I would be using. There's this area here that I don't know if it's my paper or if it's something that I, you know, like my paper is grabbing right there, but I've noticed it doing that a bit for a little while with some of the different colors. So I just want to see if that's my paper grabbing that area or that I just went a little harsh with my color. I think that's okay. All right, she's coming along. I'm happy. Let's do some, I think I'm ready for some dark. So, what I was using, the Caput Mortem, that's not dark enough. What I want is a page that has, here it is. The page that has, does it have it here? The Luminance Dark Flesh, which I adore, because it's warm, it's wonderful and warm. Lightfast Autumn Brown is a nice color too, but I think I'm going to pull out the Luminance Dark Flesh. Okay, so if you don't have that, what would I be doing? Luminance Dark Flesh. I know I've recommended the Prismacolor Espresso. You know, it's interesting because the Prismacolor Espresso is not as red as I thought that it was. So you might try like Prisma Dark Umber, even though it's definitely not as red. Any of those warm browns are going to be good, and especially make sure that you don't press hard. You want to always, anytime you're adding a new color, you want to always go lighter than you think that you should. And I am going to try and find a new one because my other one's really, really short. Okay, so this is Luminance 748 Dark Flesh. One of my favorite colors for skin tones. Definitely has a different feel compared to like the Lightfast. The Lightfast was so smooth, gliding on. This one I can hear it, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's just definitely different. I'm in a chatty Kathy kind of mood today. I can tell. I haven't shut up since we started filming. All right, let's do. Let's do some. Actually, I'm going to do some more here. Sometimes I have a tendency to not go dark enough because going dark is scary. But when I watch some colored pencil artists that I follow who do like portraits in color pencil, and I watch them do their little speed videos or whatever. Unfortunately, there aren't any really awesome color pencil artists that do real, good real-time tutorials. They're all just kind of speed coloring, showing what they're doing, which is great. But especially if they don't speak English, it's so hard for me. If there's no closed captioning or anything, it's hard to follow. Anyway, where I was going with this is watching them work. Some of them go so dark. And so early too, which just scares the bejesus out of me. I just can't. I'm not ready to do that, to do that yet. And I think to myself, holy moly, how in the world are they going to? How is that going to look good? It boggles my mind. And then they keep going and going and going, and all of a sudden, it's like this amazing portrait that they do. There's some so super talented people out there in the world. Okay, gotta be careful with these dark colors again. Just be a little careful. Now I like how her nose is looking there where it's darker. I really like that. So we're gonna go with that. All right, come up here into these shadows. How are we doing on time? An hour. I've got to, well, if I stick with my desire to keep my videos to about an hour and a half, we have about a half an hour left. We'll see how it goes. We might go a little long. All right. What do I want to do now? I think I'm ready to do a little bit more. I think I might come back to the Lightfast Salmon. I'm going to try it here on her shoulder. What I like about this is it's light, and so we can kind of start using it to blend with these colors together a little bit. I'm just going to work in to the highlight, but not cover it completely. I think I know what I want next, but we'll see. So my pressure now is, I would say, a good medium pressure. I'm definitely applying pressure to the pencil, but I'm not pushing so hard that it hurts my hand or that I'm pressing down the tooth of the paper. I'm just making sure that I'm really starting to make sure I have enough pigment on the page. I can't remember which side of the paper I printed this on. Did I print this on this rough side? I printed this on the rougher side of the paper. I've had pretty good luck with using the rougher side so far, and it's smooth enough to where I don't feel like I'm fighting the tooth too much, but rough enough that I feel like I can get enough layers. All right, I'm going to do a little bit more pink again. can tell right here that I didn't have as much pigment down right here, because I could see some pencil strokes popping in right there. Her lip looks gray to me. I'm not sure why. Probably because I don't have enough pigment down. I'm going to pull out my my Prisma White. And I'm going to put it in a couple of these places that I want to make sure stay pretty bright. I'm going to start in the center of this cheek, and I'm going to work my way out, and I'm thinking that I might be ready to start blending, and I think that I'm going to use the Prisma White to do it. I love blending with this, and if you don't press too hard, you can come back in after you're finished blending with the Prisma White and add some more warm it up, which I think is what we're going to do. Yes, we're going to do that. All right, I'm going to go ahead and blend. You don't need to go, maybe I don't go too much into the super dark areas. I'm going to add this. Let's just do the shoulder and see how it turns out. Then I'll know better. So I added a little bit of white to that shoulder. And now I'm going to come in with something warm. Normally I would use like Prisma Burnt Ochre. So I pulled all of my sheets out of their handy dandy little flip pages. What do you call those? The little plastic sheets. So that we don't get the shine from the plastic sheets. So this is Prisma Burnt Ochre. Boy, there's so many choices that we could do. We definitely need something. Let's do Luminance Burnt Ochre. What is that? Burnt Ochre 50%. Luminance Burnt Ochre 50%. I want to try this. This is kind of fun because it's like I get to color the way I would if I wasn't filming. and this is what I would be doing, just building up and adding different colors. I like it. I like it, and we're going to come back in and add some more purples. Let's, all right, we're going to do, so I'm going to use the white, and I'm going to add the white. Kind of blending out from the cheek. I'm not going to go into the really dark areas because I don't want to lighten the really dark areas any more than I have to. I don't know if you could hear the difference in the sound when I came up here into the center of her forehead where there was very little pigment. The sound definitely changed. Okay, one thing I want to do here, because I feel like I've really neglected this area, I'm just going to put a little bit of this peach down. And maybe a little bit of that. All right, so now that I've got the white down up here, I'm going to add a little bit of this burnt ochre 50%, which is 836. So your warm colors, your oranges, your yellows, those tend to hit in the forehead, the top of the cheeks, places where the sun would hit the face. And your purples tend to be on the chin and in the shadows, like I said before. Careful about the white. All right, I'm starting to feel pretty good about this. All right, I want some purple, and I want for whatever reason, normally I would use the black grape. I'm feeling like I want a warmer color, so I'm actually going to try this Lightfast purple. I want kind of a red purple for some reason. So just give it a little sharpen. Yeah, we're going to go over an hour and a half. I hope that's okay with you. If you can't stay for the, just always remember that these videos are always here for you. So you can always come and watch if you feel like you want to. You can always come back. Or watch it in sections or whatever works for you. All right, so there's that little bit of the Lightfast purple. I'm going to put a little bit of it in here. I'm going to put a little bit of it. And then I think we're going to break out the Caran d'Ache blender. All right, I'm going to break out the blender, and then I will know what I want to do after that. So I'm going to put a decent amount of magnets here because I know I'm going to move this thing around. And it's a brand new blender with a weird, heavy squared end because I haven't used it yet. So I'm going to just take a random piece of paper and just kind of soften that that weird square edge so that now I can use it. I'm not pushing down super hard. Medium pressure, I guess. Maybe medium to firm pressure. If you have if you have enough pigment on your paper, you shouldn't have to press down very hard with the blender to get it to move that pigment and blend what you've got on here. The less pigment you have on your paper, the harder you're going to have to press and the harder you're going to have to work to get this to do what it is supposed to do. So if you have to press really hard, then that's a clue to say, you know what, I don't have enough pigment down on the page yet. I need to add more. So I know a lot of people will say stuff like, oh, I don't, you know, you don't, the blenders don't work. I don't like them or whatever. And usually if that is the case, it's because you don't have enough pigment on the paper. Or you just don't like using blenders, and that's okay too. But if you know, double check that you have enough pigment on your paper. Something here, I'm not sure what I need to do there. It just doesn't look quite right to me yet. When I look in the viewfinder of the camera, it looks like her upper lip is just glowing white. I don't know if that's the way it's going to show up on the film or not. That's not what it looks like to me in person. But I do want to double check. Let's take some of the Salmon Lightfast because I'm just gonna add that above her lip, at least on this side, because this is the side that's a little bit more in shadow. And then I don't know what's happening here. It looks a little blotchy to me. Not sure why. Really not sure why that looks blotchy there. So then I might want something more waxy to smooth and cover that up. I'm not sure if that will work or not, but we'll give it a go. Let's try Light Peach Prismacolor. Not sure if this is the right thing to do or not, but it just, something right there was not working for me. I think that's a little bit better. Her shoulder still doesn't look blended out enough yet to me, so I'm going to use this to add some more pigment down as well. Light colored prismas are awesome for blending, just like the Luminance. That Luminance cork, I think I've mentioned, is an awesome color for blending. All right, we're almost there. we are really, really almost there. I want my grade lavender. I'm going to put a little bit more of this underneath her eye. And I'm going to get some black. So I'm going to use my Speer Farben black. Polychromos black is a good black to use as well. All right. I think I'm ready to do her eyes and lips. I think I'm going to add a little bit more pink. And I'm pretty sure that I want to add some of this fabulous orange color from Lightfast. It is Persian Orange. I don't know what it is about it that I love so much. Let me just find it on the swatch chart. I can't find it for some reason on the swatch chart, but it's here. There it is right there. Polychromos Sanguine is a nice color too, but this Persian Orange is really, really nice. It's kind of like the Mineral Orange. Prismacolor Mineral Orange. It just does something wonderful to skin. I don't know why. So we're just going to add a little bit of that. And then we'll do the eyes and the lips. So now I am using a really light touch. I'm kind of doing a technique that a lot of people call glazing. So I just want to really lightly add this color. And then let's do some on her shoulder. All right, and then I'll just smooth it in. Next time I use this paper, I think I'm going to try the smoother side. I actually don't think I've used the smoother side yet. When I started using it, I started out using the rougher side, And I was happy with the layers that I've gotten, but I haven't actually tried the smoother side yet. So maybe we'll try that next time. I'm just going to add a little bit more of the purple Lightfast. Just a little bit. Now I'm going to do the eyes and the lips now because, you know, I know we want to keep these videos fairly, you know, not a gazillion hours long. But if I was doing this on my own without filming, I would probably be spending at least another half an hour on her skin. At least. That's just kind of, yeah, because I could continue tweaking this for quite a while. But let's do her lips, her eyes and lips first, and then we'll decide if we're going to keep going or not. I'm just going to put a little bit of the white in first. Something about this right here is bugging me. I know I said that I was going to do the eyes and lips, but I'm going to tell you right now, I'm having this great urge to pull out my Luminance Dark Flesh 5%. And seriously, okay, wait, I got to show you, I'm just going to show you something really quick. I got to find it first. Dark Flesh. It might be easier to find it on the actual Luminance swatch chart. Why can't I find it? Oh, here. Okay. So, which one of those is darker? The one on the left or the one on the right? The one on the right, is darker than the one on the left. Dark Flesh 40%, Dark Flesh 5%. Completely does not make sense to me in any way, shape, or form that the 5% would be darker than the 40%. I don't get it. It does not make sense to me. All right, so that being said, I'm using the Dark Flesh 5%, and I'm actually feeling like I might be full. The tooth might be full here. Because it's not, I don't know that it's really doing much. It almost feels like it's just gliding over what I've already done. So that might not do me any good. Sometimes that does happen. All right, she's good. Let's continue on. Lips, please. All right, Nectar is my go-to base color for lips. Don't know why, it just is. It just seems like the perfect, so far every color that I've put on top of Nectar has looked good. So that's what I do. Okay, so I had this laying on my desk, and my husband said, it looks like a sheet of lipstick swatches. It's like, yes, it does. All right, so we're going to be using purples on her. So do I want to use red lips, or do I want to go pinker? Like, yes, I think we want to go more in the pink family for lips. I'm really drawn to this color right here. That's Holbein Rose. But really, you could pick, I mean, I don't think you can make a mistake in a lip color. So maybe I know that they're very different, but maybe one of these two, if you don't have Holbein. You can't make a mistake. Don't feel like you have to know exactly which pencils somebody uses in a color along. You can always stray a little bit, and you're still going to get a really similar results if you pick something similar. So I'm going to try this. I'm going to start slowly because I'm not positive. I haven't used this one, before on numerous occasions. So anytime you're putting a color down that you're not 100% confident that that's the color you want, just go a little slow. Do it a little bit at a time, because you can always readjust if you change your mind and say, oh, nope, that's no good. I don't like that. And I know not everybody has the Holbeins. I like it. Okay, so I do want something a little dark, and I want this Luminance Perylene Brown is a really nice color, and it's kind of a, it's got this really lovely orangey tone to it. So let's see what that looks like. And I know that oranges look really nice with purples. So adding this little slightly bit of warm orangey color, I think, is going to be pretty. This is the Holbein Rose. We're going to go a little bit of this Perylene Brown. Actually, I think I might even need something even a little bit darker. Okay. So anytime you're going to use a colorless blender, make sure that the tip of it is clean. This plastic eraser is really great for pulling the color off of your blenders. Sometimes I like the Prisma blender over the Luminance blender, especially for detailed work, because it can sharpen to a sharper point, for one thing. And I don't know, sometimes it just needs that Prisma blender. All right, I want to go a little bit darker under her lip. And a little bit more of this rose color. I need to work on her teeth a little bit, but I'm not sure. All right, that other one just didn't do the job, so I'll break out the, and I think white. We're gonna break out the white. All right, and black. I'm gonna use some black. So when you use the black, make sure that you go really lightly to start. You don't want her to have black lips. You just want it to darken the colors that are already there. I think that's fine. Now I'm starting to get, now I start to move faster than I normally would, because I know we're running out of time. And I really want to get her eyes done. So I'm going to relax, and I'm just going to do her eyes, and then we won't worry about it. And then if I want to tweak her skin some more, I'll just do it on the next video. How about that? All right, so we have our Prismacolor Nectar. I'm going to put that in the corner of her eyes. And I normally would pull out, well, let's just pull it out. I want Prismacolor Henna. So I'm going to do Henna. And let's put the Nectar kind of on the waterline, but leave a little area. We can either leave it or we can add it later with Posca pen or a gel pen. All right, I'm going to take a few different grays. Prismas are still my favorite grays. We're going to take 50% cool gray. Is that right? 50? Yeah, we're going to take 50% cool gray on this outer corner. And that inner corner. Oh, you know what? Let's just do it on this inner corner too. I gotta take my I have to take my glasses off to see up close. Even though they're good progressives, they when I really want to get up close on something tiny, I actually just do better with no glasses at all. All right, this is 20% cool gray. I'm gonna just blend that out. And I might actually use some white too. It always surprises me. Well, it doesn't surprise me so much anymore, but when I was first doing this, I was surprised at how much better the eyes looked when they were darker gray than you would think that you would use. Let's use some 70% cool gray just underneath. I haven't even done her eye color yet. Let's do, what color do I want her eyes? I want her eyes green. I want green eyes. So, I'm going to actually just pull out my Prismacolor. These are my new charts with all the all the nice typed stuff. Let's do Jade Green and Olive Green. Let's see what happens. I'm going to start with the Jade Green. And then the Olive Green. Kind of on the outside edge mostly. And just make little lines going into the center of the eye. Okay, the black is already pretty black. And let's do her lashes. I almost always do black, no matter what color hair I do. I just really like the look of the dark. It's just me. Okay, so you want to do your lashes curved. If you don't know about it, I do have a sheet in my Etsy store that is nothing but eyes, and they're nice and big and fun to play with, and you can also practice lashes. You want your lashes to be kind of, what's the word? I can't think of the word. You always want them to be curved. Some of them are going to clump. You don't want them standing straight out like little soldiers. All right, I was hoping to just grab a pencil that I already have out. In this case, it's the Dark Flesh Luminance. You could use any brown that you have. And I'm going to use brown right on the lash line. Teeny tiny little circles. It's not as harsh as using black. All right, that's pretty. This is the henna again. Actually, I might take the Nectar and just softly glaze it into the, just little teeny tiny circles, just a little bit of that pink coming up into the ball of the eye. I think that will do it. We preserved the white highlight on her eyes, so we don't really need to add that. I am going to add a little bit of black around the iris, so it's just a little bit darker. Not at the bottom, because the lash line covers, or the water line covers up the bottom of the iris, so don't put your black all the way down there. But all right, I'm gonna call her done for now, because we're almost at 2 hours. And then when I come back to work on her hair, if there's any tweaks that I want to make on her skin, I will do them at that time. So thank you so much, everybody, for being here. If you stuck with me through this whole video, thank you. And yeah, and that's all. If you don't have her already, she's in my Etsy shop. All the fairies in my Etsy shop are 40% off right now. There's a new one in there too. So yeah, I guess that's it. Until I see you guys next time, take care of yourselves, take care of each other. Happy coloring. Bye.